every time Albertans pay in their share, they never get back the same amount. So it's just so many layers upon layers of ways in which Albertans and Ontarians and British Columbians a lot are paying in far more than they're getting back without any kind of accountability, especially on equalization. It's such a flawed program.
I think it's broader. This issue is all linked to a lot of bigger issues, and I think people are against big government and Marxism, and I think they're for personal freedom.
This is Kerry Diotte in Edmonton. A group called Fairness Alberta said Ottawa is crippling Canada's energy industry and hurting the country in doing so. The group is taking action.
So if we could just get them on board with some reforms, we could be able to get that 65% of the country. And if you got 2/3 of the country saying, hey, this is crap, we need to get this fixed, it gets a lot harder for people to ignore the topic.
Tell me a bit about your campaign.
Yeah, we're running online ads and social media. We've already built up a bit of a following in BC and Ontario because we've been trying to build an equalization reform coalition there. Those are the other two major have provinces that pay in, and we think there's more to be done to help a shared understanding of how the more productive provinces have been footing way too big of a tab for Quebec and the Maritimes in particular. And so we're trying to sort of now get them to realize with the Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the crazy prices escalating on energy right now, it's a perfect time for them to realize that the world needs this energy, and if Canada's not producing it, there's no such thing as a just transition if it means Russia's producing the oil instead of us. That's not just. So we've trying to rebrand this whole concept as the unjust transition and explain to Canadians, especially in Ontario and BC, we feel like Alberta and Saskatchewan kind of get it already, but get a bigger coalition of the major centers in the country to understand that we need to use Canadian oil and gas.
What figures would surprise people about the imbalance of money that goes from Alberta to other provinces?
Leading up to COVID, Albertans were sending about $20 billion a year in taxes to Ottawa that they were not getting back. And so $20 billion works out to an enormous sum per Albertan. And it's staggering, really, to think that every year that much wealth is getting pulled out of Alberta to be spread around the rest of the country. Equalization's the most notable of the programs that cause this, but it's not the only one. And so it's part about getting people to realize how much duplication there is in all of this wealth transfer, whether it's the health transfers or the social transfers. Every time Albertans pay in their share, they never get back the same amount. So it's just so many layers upon layers of ways in which Albertans and Ontarians and British Columbians a lot are paying in far more than they're getting back without any kind of accountability, especially on equalization. It's such a flawed program. So we really think that we can get some more provinces on board, and number one goal right now is just to make sure it's not just renewed in 2024 when it expires.
Why are Albertans frustrated with the deal they get in Confederation, in a nutshell?
Well, mathematically, and Dr. Bill Buick could explain the arithmetic, who works for our group, it's been a great disparity in transfer payments, the program of transfer payments, which was meant to be kind of an equalization and support the weak, if you want to call it philosophically, but it's really become a perpetual tax grab, and it's really punitive and unfair. And then not every year in Alberta we live in a cyclical economy, and sometimes we feel like we're on top of the world, and other times we're on the bottom, but overall the intent of the program was generous of spirit and logical, but it's gone far beyond that and is grossly unfair. And it's unfair to other provinces too, but some of it goes back to just the collection of dollars from society, businesses, individuals, and funneling to the federal government to disperse as they see fit. And it really undermines democracy if you want to go down that avenue. It's not about voting for somebody and personal freedom. It's really about control and financial manipulation. So I think many Albertans, I know the gentlemen and ladies that come out and support this, just realize it's patently unfair.
What's the immediate solution?
Well, I think strategically it needs more than just Alberta's support. And I think Ontario and other provinces need to be brought into this discussion. And one thing I've concluded is I don't think any province wants all of their revenue to be filtered through Ottawa. So I think just on that principle of more connection between funds and spending and social benefit is good. But Alberta by itself saying, woe is me, feel sorry for me. I don't know if this is appropriate for the interview, but I was joking with the gentleman. I said, maybe we should use they called it reverse logic. Maybe we should send them more money till they get to the point where they say, this is ridiculous, and start sending it back to us. But fundamentally, we need Canada to function as an entity and not Alberta. There's many that would say Alberta needs to separate, and that might be a last resort. But I think Confederation wasn't conceived to operate like this.
You're a well-known business person in and around Edmonton. Do you hear a lot of concern from your fellow business people on this issue?
I think it's broader. This issue's all linked to a lot of bigger issues, and I think people are against big government and Marxism, and I think they're for personal freedom. And I think all of this is through centralizing and just even this situation of ridiculous spending through the COVID period, the running up of debt, the raising of interest rates. It's a form of serfdom, and this has happened in other countries in the world. I encourage other people to go out and go on your YouTube or read books. And I think fundamentally this is about personal freedom and quality of life.
Watch for the Unjust Transition social media campaign everywhere. For Rebel News, I'm Kerry Diotte in Edmonton. For more news you won't see anywhere else, go to rebelnews.com.